The room was silent, not because it was empty, but because fear had stolen every voice. The Galactic Council chamber. A giant hall filled with hundreds of alien leaders sat still as a prisoner was dragged into the center. Chains rattled. Blood dripped from his jaw. His once shiny armor was cracked and burned. His name was Ketron, a general of the mighty Zarnok Empire. But now he looked like a broken soldier. 2 guards shoved him to his knees. The council members stared. Some looked curious. Some looked angry. Most looked amused. Chancellor Varix, a tall alien with golden skin and 4 glowing eyes, stepped forward. "You led 50 warships toward a small, primitive planet," he said slowly. "And now you return alone in chains. Explain yourself." Ron didn't lift his head. His voice came out low and rough. "Do not attack the humans." The chamber echoed with laughter. A few council members even clapped mockingly. "Humans," one of them sneered. "You mean those wild creatures on Earth? They barely left their own solar system?" Ketron raised his head now. His eyes burned not with fear, but with warning. "You don't understand," he said, voice shaking. "I thought the same. I thought they were weak. I thought they would run. I was wrong." Varix narrowed his eyes. "You're saying Earth defeated the Zarnak fleet?" Ketron nodded slowly. "Led the attack myself," he said. "We had stealth ships. We had orbital weapons. We had energy shields. But when we reached their moon, something was waiting." The lights in the chamber dimmed slightly. Everyone leaned in closer. "We never saw the first shot," Ketron whispered. "One moment, our lead cruiser was flying. The next, it was gone. No explosion, no trace. Just vanished." A murmur spread across the room. Varix raised a hand to silence them. "They used a single ship," Ketron continued. "It didn't look powerful. It was small, quiet. But it tore through us like a storm. There. Weapons didn't match anything in our database. They burned cold, silent, not heat-based, not plasma." Ketron's hands trembled. "They didn't talk. They didn't warn. They just destroyed. We tried to run. They were faster. Tried to hide. They tracked us." Varix spoke again. "And how did you survive?" "Didn't," Ketron said. Bitterly, "They left me alive on purpose. It disabled my ship. Then they spoke one sentence through my broken cums." Paused. "They said, 'Tell your council this was a warning. Earth does not bow.'" The room went silent again, then more laughter. A purple-skinned ambassador stood. "This is a joke. You were defeated and now you spin stories to hide your shame." Another added, "Earth has no fleet. Their technology is behind by centuries." Ketron looked at them, tired and beaten, but his voice was steady now. "You think I fear your laughter?" he said. "I watched my best commanders beg for mercy as they burned without sound." Varix stared at him. "You say humans have power beyond what we know. Why would they hide it until now?" Ketron replied. "Because they are not like us. They don't want conquest. But they will not allow invasion. They watched us for years. They learned our weaknesses. And when we moved, he snapped his fingers. They ended us in minutes." Varix turned to the rest of the council. "Even if it is true, one human ship cannot threaten the Galactic Council." Before Ketron could answer, a young officer ran into the chamber, breathless and pale. "Chancellor, something is hovering outside the station. It just dropped out of warp. No warning." Varix frowned. "Whose ship is it?" The officer swallowed. "It's Earth origin, human." Every eye turned toward the giant windows behind the chamber. Outside, floating above the capital moon, was a single dark ship. Sleek, still, silent, no lights. Out. No sounds. But it was watching, one ambassador whispered. "That's the same ship." From Ketron's report. Another gasped. "It's alone." Ketron smiled bitterly. "They always are." The human ship sent no message. It just hovered. And yet every alien in the room felt the same thing. A chill, a warning. No one moved. The human ship floated like a shadow, just outside the defense grid of the Galactic Council station. No weapons were fired. No warnings came through. But the silence. The silence was louder than any explosion. Inside the council chamber, even the most arrogant members had stopped talking. Ambassador Droger, who once boasted that Earth was nothing but a rock full of apes, stepped away from the window, his hands trembling. "Activate shields," Chancellor Varric said quietly. Order was given. Energy shields, strong enough to block meteor storms and plasma missiles, shimmered to life around the station. Defense systems locked on the human ship. Still, it didn't move. Commander Sierra Lin, head of the Council's space defense, joined the room. "It's not responding to our scans," she said. "No heat signatures, no visible engines. No known design." Ketron, the alien prisoner from earlier, leaned against his restraints, smiling slightly. "They don't want you to understand it," he said. "They want you to fear it." One of the guards kicked him back to the floor, but no one laughed now. Suddenly, the ship lit up. Just a single pulse bright blue. It's like a star waking up, panned. Then it dimmed again. Seconds later, a voice echoed across every ship, every station, every device tuned to council channels. It was clear, calm, and human. "Come in peace. But do not provoke us. There will be no second warning." That was it. Just one sentence. The council scrambled. "Trace the signal," Varric shouted. "It came from everywhere," Sierra said. "Can't localize it. It was broadcast through our own relay system." "How?" someone shouted. "They hacked it from the outside," she whispered. "In real time." Whispers spread like fire. "That's not possible," said one ambassador. "They're bluffing," said another. But deep down, they all knew it wasn't a bluff. A few hot-headed commanders in the council fleet took it as a challenge. 6 warships were already moving into formation. Permission to intercept. One captain requested. Varric hesitated, then gave a slow nod. "Do not fire unless fired upon." The council watched the screens. 6 ships approached the human vessel in a tight triangle. They circled it, scanning from every angle. Then, without a sound, all 6 ships vanished. No explosion, no wreckage. Just gone, inside the chamber. Someone screamed, "They destroyed our ships!" "No," Sierra said, eyes wide. "They didn't destroy them. They removed them." "What does that mean?" Varric asked. "It's like they were erased," she said softly. "Nothing remains. Not even data trails. No signals. No debris." Ketron's voice rose again. "They use weapons that don't kill the body first. They kill the idea of you." Varric stared at the screen, pale. "We're not dealing with a primitive race." Commander Sarah nodded. "Sir, I think we're not. The advanced ones here." Suddenly, another transmission came through. This time, not in human language, but in every galactic tongue at once. "Earth is not your enemy, but we are not your prey. Respect our peace or prepare for silence." One by one, council members started leaving the room. Not in panic, but in fear. Fear of saying the wrong thing. Fear of being next. "Ambassador," Droger whispered. "We need to surrender. We're not at war," Varric snapped. "No," Ketron said, grinning through bloodied teeth. "You just lost before the war began." Outside, the human ship slowly turned, then disappeared. Not in a flash, not in a jump. It just faded out like it was never there at all. Sierra checked her screens. No warp trail. No energy reading. It's like it was part of our space all along. A deep silence fell again. Chancellor Varric looked around the room. So many proud voices now gone quiet. So many confident leaders now afraid. He spoke with a voice softer than before. "Begin full report. I want every species to send data on human activity. Every satellite log, every contact, no matter how small. From now on, Earth is no longer a minor system." Ketron, still on his knees, laughed once. "It never was," he said. "You just never saw the fire inside." Outside space was quiet, but somewhere, watching unseen, the humans waited. They had given a warning, and this time, the galaxy listened. Deep inside the Council's main intelligence tower, Lights flickered as dozens of alien analysts worked in silence. What had happened earlier, the human ship appearing, warning, and erasing warships had shaken the entire galactic order. Now, every screen in the chamber showed the same thing, the empty space where 6 warships used to be. A young alien named Ruvo, barely out of training, stared at the blinking symbols. He had pale green skin, thin arms, and 4 tiny eyes that moved quickly over data lines. His commander, Advisor Jill, hovered behind him. Any progress? Jill asked, voice tight. Are you Vo? Took a breath. I've been comparing the energy signatures before and after the disappearance, he said. There was a spike. Very brief. Lasted only 0.2 seconds. But it matches something. Old Jewel leaned in. Old. From which database? Ruvo hesitated. Not ours. He pulled up a dusty archive and classified reports from over 70 cycles. Ago ships lost? Planets reported destroyed but later found untouched. All near Earth's region of space. Jill frowned. What are you saying? I think the humans have something that doesn't destroy mature it, shifts it, Ruvo said quietly. Maybe into another dimension, maybe into nothingness. I don't know, that's not possible. But it happened, Ruvo replied. And they used it with surgical precision. Jill stared at the screen. Why didn't we see this before? Why didn't the Council know they had such weapons? Ruvo gave a dry laugh, because we never bothered to look. Thousands of light years away, on a hidden moon near the edge of Earth's system. A massive black structure sat buried beneath the rock. Inside it, humans walked through dim corridors filled with strange machines built using materials not found on Earth. Captain Laura Grant entered a sealed chamber marked Level 5 Reverse Projects. Group of engineers stood at attention. One of them handed her a report. The test on the Council fleet was successful. Ma'am, he said. Laura nodded. Good. Minimal force. No civilian casualties? None, the engineer confirmed. As you ordered. She stepped closer to the machine in the center of the room. It hummed softly. A circle of floating metal plates rotated around a glowing crystal core? Do they understand what we have yet? Laura asked. Not even close, someone muttered. Another engineer spoke, pointing at the crystal. This tech came from the crash at Roswell. 70 years of research. We still don't fully understand it, but we know how to use it, Laura said firmly. The room went silent. She placed a hand on the cold control panel. They thought. We were behind. But while they flaunted their warships, we studied. Back in Council space, panic was spreading. Many species sent emergency reports. Scouting missions avoiding Earth. Ships going missing near human territory. Satellite systems failing. The name Earth now carried weight, not fear of what they had, but fear of what they might still be hiding. In the data chamber, Ruvo brought up one final file. A secret scan taken decades ago. By a hidden probe over Earth, it had detected a massive underground structure beneath Antarctica, buried under ice. No known civilization builds this deep, he whispered. Advisor Jill looked at the screen. That's not military, he said. That's preparation. For what? Ruvo turned to face him. For a war they knew would come. Meanwhile, in a secret conference held in Earth's orbit, top human officials met virtually with a few alien diplomats. Those wise enough to listen, we don't want war. Laura Grant repeated, standing tall. An insectoid ambassador spoke. Slowly, your technology is far beyond what we expected. Why keep it hidden? Because peace is easier when they think you're weak, Laura replied. Another ambassador asked, what if someone stronger comes after you? She smiled. We'll adapt. That's what humans do. A screen lit up behind her showing Earth's many ancient ruins, lost wars, climate disasters, and yet cities rebuilt, forests regrown, people surviving everything. We didn't become strong because of power, Laura said softly. We became strong because the universe forced us to. That same night, back in Council territory, a secret group met in the shadows. We must prepare, one general growled. If humans attack, we need a counterweapon. But how? Another asked, we don't even understand what they used. We steal it, someone said, or we make Earth our ally. Everyone went quiet, because in that moment they knew. No one beats humans at war, but worse. No one beats humans at survival. Captain Laura Grant stood at the edge of the viewing deck aboard the stealth command ship Aegis. Her eyes locked on Earth below. Blue oceans, white clouds, and green land spun slowly under the station's orbit. It looked peaceful, quiet, but she knew the galaxy no longer believed that. Behind her, the door opened. 2 alien ambassadors entered, escorted by a human officer. They looked nervous, but curious. Laura turned and greeted them. Welcome aboard. I'm glad you chose to talk, not fight. The taller of the two, a silver-scaled creature named Velrith, nodded slowly. We came to understand, he said. We've never seen power used. The way you used it, Laura gestured to a seat. Sit. You're not prisoners here. They sat. Laura remained standing. You want to understand Earth? She asked. Then you need to understand our people. Velrith tilted his head. Studied your species? You have a violent history.
Oh.
Laura gave a short laugh. Yes, we've burned our own cities. We've had world wars. We nearly destroyed ourselves. The second ambassador, a smaller feathered creature named Yuko, leaned forward. And yet, you rebuilt. Laura nodded. That's what makes us dangerous. The room went quiet. She walked to a large screen and tapped it. Images flashed across. War footage, nuclear tests, ruined landscapes, and then schools being rebuilt. Children laughing in shelters, people planting trees over ash. We didn't rise because we were powerful, she said. We rose because we never stopped getting back up, Velrith whispered. You learned through pain. We were shaped by it, Laura answered. She paused, then added, You fight with pride. We fight to survive. Meanwhile, deep inside a council listening station hidden behind a nearby asteroid belt, a secret team was monitoring the meeting. Can they hear us? Technician whispered. No, the leader said. Human encryption is too strong. We can only watch. They zoomed in on the human captain's face. She doesn't look like a warrior, one agent said. Because human strength isn't always in muscles, the leader replied. It's in their choices. Back on the Aegis, Laura walked toward a case on the wall and opened it. Inside lay a rusted, bent piece of metal with a faded marking. This, she said, was part of a ship called the Titanic. It sank over. 1,000 Earth years ago, hundreds died. It was one of our first global tragedies. Yuko blinked. Why keep something so old? Because it reminds us that no matter how far we go, we can always fall, Laura said. And when we fall, we learn. She turned back to the ambassadors. Your council sees us as unpredictable, uncontrollable. That's fair. She walked closer. But it's because you don't understand the human mind. Velrith looked uneasy. Then explain it to us. Laura thought for a second, all right. Imagine this your planet is dying. No help. No hope. Your people cry out, and no one answers. Most species would give up. She pointed at herself. Humans. We get angry. We don't wait for rescue. We build rockets with duct tape and rage. But you go. Flinched. Velrith whispered. That's terrifying. Laura smiled faintly. Exactly. Later that day, back on the council capital, the Secret Intelligence Board met again. One agent brought forward a report. It's not just technology. He said, it's belief. The humans have a cultural instinct ever surrender. They'll fight with stones if needed, another added, and they don't forget pain. Their memory shapes everything. The oldest advisor stood, voice shaking. They are not conquerors, but if pushed, they become something worse. What's worse than conquerors? Someone asked. The old one answered softly. Survivors who learn faster than you can kill them. On the Aegis, the meeting came to a close. Laura stood beside the exit ramp as the ambassadors prepared to leave. "Will you share what you learned with your council?" she asked. Velrith nodded. "I'll try, but many won't listen." Laura looked him in the eyes. "Then tell them. This Earth doesn't want war, but if it comes, we won't run. We won't beg. We'll adapt. And we'll win in ways your galaxy can't even imagine." The ship's lights dimmed slightly. The quiet, her words hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. In space, unseen and silent, human satellites turned, listening to every signal. Across Council space, and waiting. Always waiting because Earth knew what others didn't. Wars are not always won with weapons. Sometimes they're won with will. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council hadn't been this full in 100 years. Leaders from every major species sat around the curved table, some in shining armor, others in robes of wisdom. The room buzzed with quiet arguments, shaking hands, and darting eyes. At the center stood Chancellor Varix, his golden skin looking dull under the heavy lights. "Order," he called. "The issue of Earth must now be decided." The room silenced. "We've heard the reports, we've seen the footage, we've lost ships. We've seen technology beyond our models. But the question remains, what now?" He looked around. "Do we attack Earth, or do we attempt peace?" A deep voice echoed from the left side of the chamber. It was General Kalvak, a war hero from the Varnak system. "They erased 6 warships without warning," he growled. "That was not defense. That was a show of power. If we bow now, we bow forever." Cheers rose from one side of the room, but from the right, an old diplomat stood. She was from the gentle Lyeri species, small and wise. Or, she said calmly, they could have erased all our fleets, and didn't. That was not war, that was mercy. The chamber split instantly. Some shouted for battle, others begged. For peace, the tension hung like a sword over the galaxy in a dark side chamber. A secret vote was being prepared. A crystal orb sat on a table. Each council member would touch it, green for peace, red for war. No speeches. No debates. Just truth. But before the vote, a surprising voice spoke up. It was High Chancellor Malin, a reclusive elder who had not spoken in years. His skin was cracked with age. His robes were faded. But when he stood, the room fell silent. "I met a human. Once," he began. Whispers filled the air. "I was young. Science vessel crashed near their planet. Most of my crew died. A pod fell into a frozen valley." He looked down, voice softer now. "I was sure I would die. But a human boy found me, small, barely 12 Earth years old. He could have left me. But instead he dragged me through the snow, fed me, covered me with his coat. He didn't speak my language. He didn't know who I was, but he saved me." Lylan looked around. "If you think they are monsters, you are blind. They are what we could be if we remembered how to suffer and rise again." Then he walked toward the crystal orb and pressed green. One by one, council members followed. Some placed their hands with shaking fingers. Others slammed the orb with anger. A small screen showed the vote rising. 15 for war. 15 for peace. The room froze. There was only one vote left. The swing vote belonged to the youngest member of the council. His name was Enar, from the newly accepted Talari species. His people had no armies, no colonies. They lived simply. I had never seen war. All eyes turned to him. He looked terrified. His hands trembled. He walked to the orb. Everyone leaned forward. He paused, then spoke. "My people once feared the council," he said. "But you gave us peace. You protected us. Now, I see Earth, and I feel the same fear." He turned, but fear is not a reason. To kill, he pressed green. The screen blinked. Peace. 16. War. 15. It was done. Back in the observation rooms. Soldiers and strategists groaned. Some were ready for war. They had trained all their lives to fight Earth. Now, they were told to stand down. General Kalvak stormed out of the chamber. "You will regret this," he spat. But Chancellor Malin only nodded. "No," he said softly. "You'll regret underestimating kindness." Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Laura Grant received the final vote result on her datapad. She exhaled slowly and looked out over the horizon. Peace. 4. Now, but her expression remained serious. "They chose peace," her officer said behind her. "Yes," Laura replied. "But not because they trust us. It's because they fear what happens if they don't." She looked up at the stars. "Let's hope they never give us a reason to remind them." Far across the galaxy, deep in the shadows of space, a small group of rogue commanders met in secret. They had seen the vote. They didn't care. "They're too soft," one growled. "Peace won't last. Earth needs to be studied, controlled." Another nodded. "Then let's make our move." Psst. Too late. And so, even as peace was declared, war quietly began to take shape. In the dark side of a dying moon, far from Council eyes, 5 alien warships floated silently near a hidden hangar. Inside the command chamber of the lead ship, General Radek, a battle-scarred brute from the Dravari species, stood over a holographic map of Earth's system. "They chose peace," he growled. "But we did not." His officers remained silent. None of them wore official council badges. These were not diplomats. These were loyal to only one thing: revenge. "The council is weak," Radek continued. "They fear Earth's strength. But if we strike now, fast and quiet, we can capture one of their outer colonies and learn their secrets." An officer raised a hand. "But sir, if they detect us, they won't," Radek snapped. "We've masked our signals. We jump in. We take prisoners. We scan their tech. And we vanish." He stared at the glowing image of Luna 7, a small human. "Mining base on the outer edge of their system. Hit them where they won't expect. Leave no trace." Meanwhile, aboard the human station Aegis, Captain Laura Grant walked along a quiet corridor. Her face looked calm, but inside she was restless. Ever since the Council's vote for peace, there had been silence. No broadcasts. No movements. No threats. To silent her second-in-command, Lieutenant Harris caught up to her. "Ma'am, Satellite 09 just picked up something," he said, holding out a datapad. She took it and studied the readings. 5 heat signatures. Faint. Cold. Too cold. "That's artificial cloaking," she muttered. "Coordinates match Luna 7's orbit path." She looked up. "They're not coming to talk." At Luna 7, the human workers didn't expect trouble. It was a mining colony, not a military base. Families lived here. Engineers. Children. Suddenly, the sky lit up. 5 massive ships decloaked at once, blotting out the stars. Panic followed. Alarms screamed. Workers ran for bunkers. A defense grid tried to activate but failed instantly. On board the enemy fleet, General Radek gave the command. "Strike now." Beams of violet energy rained down, targeting the colony's communication towers and power sources. But something unexpected happened. As the towers fell, it triggered a backup alert system built deep underground. A silent signal beamed across space straight to Earth. It said one word: invasion. Back on Aegis, the alert flashed. Red Dot Laura Grant froze for only a second. Then her voice rang out. "Battle stations. Scramble all fast response units. Prepare Valkyrie protocol." Lieutenant Harris blinked. "You're going to use that for Luna 7? Or civilians?" Laura said, eyes cold. "And someone thought they'd be easy targets." Shh. She walked to the command deck. "Send only 3 ships. That'll be enough." The rogue fleet began sweeping through Luna 7's outer zone, capturing a few workers, pulling pieces of Earth tech from wreckage. Radek stood proudly on his bridge. "Look how weak they are," he said. "They don't even fight back." Just as he said it, 3 strange blips appeared on his radar. At first, they looked small. Then the reading shifted. Speed, impossible. Weapons, unknown. Signatures, unreadable. His officer stammered. "They're here." "Raise shields." Radix shouted, but it was too late. The sky split open. 3 human ships, each smaller than his, entered silently without a jump trail. Their hulls were pitch black. Their engines didn't glow, and they didn't stop. The first human ship tore straight through one of Radix's destroyers. No sound. Just a blur of movement, and the enemy ship turned into dust. The second ship dropped something over the mining colony. It wasn't a bomb. It was a shield generator. It's protecting the humans below, while the fight raged above. The third human vessel hovered over Radix's flagship. A message played across every frequency in his fleet. You were warned. Earth does not beg. Earth does not run. Earth protects. Radix screamed. Fire! Kill them! But his cannons locked. His crew stared at dead screens. They've hacked our controls. The human ship above him opened a panel. A soft blue. Light flashed once, and his flagship shut down completely. One by one. The rogue ships began drifting powerless. Minutes later, Captain Laura Grant's voice came through on every ship in the Council's communication network. Her face appeared. Calm, clear, deadly. This attack was not from the Council. We know that. But let this be your reminder. We allowed peace. We offered trust. You responded with betrayal. She leaned forward. We didn't destroy your fleet. We returned it disabled, so your people can see your failure. She stared into the camera. Again. Next time we won't. The rogue fleet, completely deactivated, was left to float in space. Human ships did not return to Earth. They stayed, watching, protecting. Back on the Council planet, chaos erupted. News spread fast. Rogue forces attacked. Earth responded instantly. No deaths, but total defeat. Chancellor Varric slammed his fist on the table. Who authorized this? General Calvek, one of the original war supporters, said nothing. Eyes were wide. High Chancellor Malin stood again. You see now? He said, Earth is not your enemy. He looked at them all. But they will always be your judge. Across the galaxy, every screen lit up at once. No one turned them on. No one asked for a broadcast, but every home. Warship, station, and palace received. The same feed coming from deep space. It showed. Earth floating peacefully in its orbit. Then came the voice, .com. Steady human. This is not a threat, the voice began, but a message from Earth. To the stars. People of every species paused what they were doing. Warriors stopped training. Scientists stopped working. Children looked up.
Ow.
We are human. We were born fragile, weak, divided, but we survived our own destruction. We learned the cost of peace. By living through chaos, the screen changed, showing war-torn Earth in the past. Fires, floods, famine. Then, it showed the same places years later, green, clean, alive. Some of you see us as primitive, others as monsters. The truth is we're both and neither. Paused. We never wanted war, but we will not kneel. We never claimed your worlds, but we will protect our own. Then came the moment that shook the stars. The screen displayed the rogue fleet floating, dead in space. Not destroyed, just shut down, humiliated. To those who attacked our colony, your ships were spared, your lives were spared. But next time, they won't be. In the Galactic Council chamber, the ambassadors sat in silence, watching the broadcast. Even General Calvek, who once pushed for war, could not look away. Chancellor Varric wiped sweat from his brow. This will change everything, he whispered. High Chancellor. Malin closed his eyes. No, he said. Everything has already changed. On a small planet in the Outer Rim, a little alien girl asked her father, why don't we fight them? Looked at her and smiled softly. Because they fight like no one else. They fight like they've already lost everything once, and never want to lose again. Back on Earth, Captain Laura Grant stood inside a dark broadcast room. The message had just ended. No more words. No demands.
House.
No follow-up threats. Just silence. She turned to her officers. Any council response? Lieutenant Harris shook his head. Not yet. Laura nodded. They're thinking. That's good. Yes. She looked out the window at the stars beyond. Let them think. In a secret meeting room on a distant council world, the old advisor Theric, who had lived through 3 galactic wars, stood slowly. I once believed humans were dangerous because of their weapons, he said to the gathered leaders. I was wrong. Placed a hand on the glowing table. They're dangerous because of what they've been through. They've already faced extinction and beat it, another elder whispered. What do we do? Theric looked at the others. We don't conquer them. He paused. We learn from them. Weeks passed, then months, and Earth remained quiet. Ships passed near human territory carefully now, not out of fear, but out of respect. Trade requests increased. Treaties were signed. Even old enemies of Earth came forward, wanting peace, not power. Humanity didn't raise its weapons again. It didn't have to. Its silence had become its loudest. Roar. On Luna 7, the mining colony once attacked. Children played under protective shields now powered by alien tech, gifted to Earth by species that once mocked them. On Mars, scientists worked side by side with peaceful aliens, sharing knowledge, not hiding it, and on Earth itself. For the first time in known history, humanity was not alone. It was respected, not feared like tyrants, not pitied like victims, but known as survivors. The galaxy had many superpowers, but only one world had earned a different title altogether. The world that must never be pushed. Earth, home. Of humans, far in deep space, a message floated endlessly encoded, simple and eternal. We are Earth. We do not seek war. But if war comes, we end it. The end.